Well, hello everyone. How you doing? I hope you're having a great week. It's not been that great around these parts for chronic pain patients because we've got kind of a trifecta going. We've got low temperatures, high humidity, and low barometric pressure. Those are the three main aspects of the weather that can really mess with chronic pain. And I just looked, the barometric pressure is down like in the 29s. When it's less than like 30.5 inches of mercury, that's at the time when you start getting problems really down below 30.2. You really start having problems, and it was 29 point something when I looked. Yeah, not great. Cold, rainy, 97% humidity, so just wonderful. Which is why it kind of hurts. And this is kind of in my own backyard here in North Carolina. And notice that this webpage is the Department of Justice. So you're not getting this filtered through any kind of propaganda, well, other than the Department of Justice is propaganda, but you know what I mean. It's not being filtered through any, opioid pain activist, anyone like that. This is from the horse's mouth. This is what they're actually doing in North Carolina. Making pharmacies pay a $500,000 penalty and entering an injunction to prevent the filling of illegal controlled substance prescriptions. Now let's stop and contemplate for a minute. What is an illegal prescription? Well, what's a legal prescription? A doctor diagnoses you, write a prescription, you go and get it filled. That's legal, right? So an illegal prescription would be one that's forged or whatever. Well, nope. They're talking about prescription opioids, prescribed by an MD, maybe even a pain specialist, who has given that prescription to a patient and the patient wants it filled at a pharmacy. And they're telling those pharmacies, you better not fill them. Let's scroll down for details. Alright, so the complaint alleges that the defendants dispensed prescription opioids while disregarding numerous red flags. We've been talking about red flag laws with regards to the Second Amendment. And we've talked about how terrible the whole idea of red flags is, as anyone who's seen Minority Report all the way through knows, and who didn't fall asleep in the last 15 minutes like I think a lot of these people did. And we're saying, hey, we need to stop, all these red flag laws from being passed about guns. Well, guess what? They're already doing it with opioids. And that's exactly what this is. Obvious indications of drug abuse, drug diversion, and drug-seeking behavior. That's the one they love, drug-seeking behavior. For example, according to the complaint, the defendants filled dangerous combination prescriptions. Filled prescriptions for long-term, high-dose opioids that exceeded known recommendations for treating pain. What recommendations, huh? You're talking about those CDC guidelines from 2016? The ones they had to kind of walk back more recently? The whole, 90 MMEs per day that they published in their guidelines and had to walk back because there is absolutely no scientific justification for them whatsoever? Is that the known recommendations you're talking about? Because I don't know of any other. Filled prescriptions for patients who appeared to be shopping for doctors or pharmacies. What does that mean? Shopping. Okay, let's say that you need to find a new MD. You moved to a new place or whatever. Your old MD moved away or whatever. So you go to one, you don't like him. You make an appointment with someone else. You go to the appointment, you don't like him. Make the appointment with someone else. What have you been doing? You've been doctor shopping. And same with pharmacies. Oh, I don't like this pharmacy. I'll go with this other pharmacy. Because I like them better. Because I like the way they do things better. And they're more responsive and everything else. What are you doing? You're shopping. Why? Because you get to do that. This is capitalism. You should get to shop around for what you like so that you can stick with that. So that you can stick with that doctor. Except If you're a chronic pain patient looking for a pain specialist, then your doctor's shopping and somehow, all of a sudden, that's bad. And filled prescriptions written by prescribers known to be suspected of illegal prescribing. Suspected. So first of all, how could a legitimate prescriber issue an illegal prescription? That's kind of what they get to do, right? That's their job. That's what they're licensed to do. But this is not even like convicted of anything, just suspected. So think about this. We suspect these of being illegal. Why? Because we suspect the doctor of filling them illegally. It's kind of circular, isn't it? Where's the entry point there? The prescriptions were illegal because the doctor was illegal, and the doctor was illegal because the prescriptions were illegal. Including one doctor who the North Carolina Medical Board, of course, had barred from prescribing controlled substances. There's a call in the pain patient activist community to have some way of reviewing these medical boards. Because quis custodiet ipsos custodes? Who watches the watchman? If the saying is old enough that it's in Latin, it's been around a while, and it's been a problem for a while. Yeah, these state medical boards are not what people think. I've talked about them in a couple other videos, though I don't really want to go in depth into it. But yeah, they're more political than medical. Pharmacists have a duty to help protect consumers from the life-threatening dangers of controlled substance abuse. Yeah, I guess, maybe. But people who take opioids for pain, as I've shown repeatedly throughout my opioid playlist, one scientific source after another, one look at the data after another, pain patients are not in a life-threatening situation. I've been doing this for 18 years. I've been taking opioids regularly every day for 18 years. Not the slightest problem. Well, except I'm apparently not allowed to have enough of them. The department will continue to work with its law enforcement partners to hold medical professionals accountable when they fail to fulfill that duty. In other words, they'll strong-arm them into doing what they want. And notice this is law enforcement. They are not doctors. They have not examined the patient. They don't know anything about the patient. These people just look... It really should be. I hope it is. I hope it is really emphasized all through medical school that human beings are not statistics. Yeah, you can go through and say, okay, you're a member of this group, so you're more likely to do it, etc. Yeah, all that's good. But at the end of the day, you have to understand you're dealing with an individual. And individuals defy statistics. I hope they're taught that, but law enforcement certainly isn't. Law enforcement has no business here, I'm sorry. Pharmacists are trained professionals who cannot simply rubber stamp doctors' prescriptions. What do you mean? Isn't their job to dispense prescriptions? They're not MDs. They haven't examined the patient. They have an independent responsibility to ensure that the prescriptions they fill are for a legitimate medical purpose. No, they don't, because they're not qualified for that. They're not an MD. They're not a PA. They haven't examined the patient. Their job is to make sure that the prescriptions that they fill match the prescriptions that the doctor said, that you're getting the right medicine in the right dosage in the right quantity. The number of pills we've put in this bottle are right. The kind of pills we put in this bottle are right. And the dosage, the milligrams. Oh, that's right. That's their job. Their job is not to second guess the diagnosis of physicians. Their job is not to second guess what drugs a patient needs. And if they have any problems, if they have any suspicions, then what they should do is contact the doctor's office. And the doctor will clarify. And then, yes, they have to rubber stamp that. because they have no qualifications that allow them to do anything else. What all this is practicing medicine without a license. That's what this is. The pharmacists at Elk Pharmacy had a corresponding responsibility, along with the prescribing practitioners, to only dispense prescriptions for a legitimate medical purpose. The DEA will continue to pursue healthcare providers who are not in compliance with mandatory regulations. And what were those mandatory regulations? We saw it back above. It exceeded known recommendations for treating pain. That's the mandatory regulations. Remember we covered when the CDC walked that back? And they were like, no, see, these are just guidelines. No one was ever actually required to go by them. No one was actually mandated. There weren't any consequences. There wasn't any law enforcement. Yes, there was! And there still is, and here's the proof right from the horse's mouth, so stop lying about it. Right here. We've got it. Right here. Those bullshit CDC recommendations based on no science whatsoever and written almost solely by a group of physicians who make money suing pharmaceutical companies and testifying as expert witnesses in those lawsuits over opioids. That's who wrote those guidelines. We've been over this. And we've been over the data too. You're focusing on people who are not the problem. I've shown you the data. Over the last several years, prescriptions have gone down massively, and addiction and overdose rates have gone up something like 700%. If opioid prescriptions were the problem would be solved. And it's not. It's getting worse. And in the process, all you're doing is torturing pain patients. This is literal torture. You're causing people to have constant, unceasing pain when there is no need to do so. And if that happens as a direct result of your actions, you're responsible. You are a torturer. That's all there is to it. Oh God, you know what the real joke behind all of this is? You know the thing that makes this such a tragic, dark, black comedy? Check this out. Rhode Island is setting up a supervised consumption site for illicit drugs. So if you want to go take illicit drugs, here's where you can go do it. Where you'll be supervised and safe. Yes. You can just go there to take illegal drugs. Whereas if you're a pain patient prescribed opioids, you don't get them. You have to laugh. Because otherwise you'd cry, because it's not funny. It's not funny at all. And how do you say, okay, if we do this, we'll help people who are addicted and help stop them from overdosing, and at the same time deny pain patients their medicine prescribed by doctors under the supervision of a physician? Someone please make it make sense. You can't, because it doesn't, and it never will. I am a little bit hopeful because the DEA guy that Trump initially selected, which is not going to be the DEA guy anymore, he was at least in favor of marijuana legalization and was a big skeptic of the war on drugs. And I thought that was a good sign. Then, of course, it turned out he did some bad things during COVID, and there was an outcry about that, so Trump's not going to have him in the cabinet. But here's at least hoping there's got to be someone out there who's like the perfect combination, who is skeptical of the drug war, who understands everything I've been telling you, and who also didn't do horrible things during COVID. There's got to be such a person out there, and hopefully Trump can find him and put him in there, and maybe we can start to put an end to all this. But with RFK Jr. in there, and a lot of the other people in there, I don't know. My suspicion is this is going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better. I guess that's all I really have to say, except, of course, for comments for the comment God, shares for the share throne. Please hit like, subscribe, and the bell. I cannot get over this. I'm sorry. I can't even get through my spiel. Supervised consumption for illicit drugs, while denying pain patients completely safe opioids. I can't get over that. I'm sorry. We're about to say, all right, donate.pagosity.tv. That's what keeps me doing all this. That's what keeps me going. Yeah. It's just been so crazy lately. There's been a lot of things to do, and now the holidays are on us. So yeah, I usually have to scale back doing YouTube videos this time of year because I'm just trying to do things that get in more money. And in fact, as soon as I'm done here, I've actually got a client I have to go and deal with and actually, get some real money in. So I have to kind of squeeze these in when I can. So apologies if it's not the same schedule I'm used to and not quite the same quality that I've been able to give you. But you want me to do more of these and you want me to do more high quality videos, the more you get a PayPal, Venmo, cryptocurrency, or become a subscriber at Patreon, Subscribestar, or Discord. The more you do that, the more of these I can do. Because I have been working on one, and this has been taking up a certain amount of my time. I'm doing one that requires a lot of art and animation that I think is really going to be a nice video. And to do that, you really just need a lot of time in a row to sit down and work without distractions. I've got some preliminary artwork sketched together for it, and that's all I am on it. It's going to take a while, and just getting some more time opened up would do that. But if I were making more money with YouTube, I'd be able to do a lot more videos like that. And I'd be able to do more Lord Killian videos, which I love doing. And I really want to do some more of those. So if you want to see those, please go donate. Please become a supporter. Thank you so very much for watching. Until next time, stay strong and be free.